I'm a huge advocate of being a business owner and really consider myself a transition coach, someone that helps people transition from employee to entrepreneur. McDonald's is not actually signing the agreements to open the location, it's the franchisee. They're signing the contracts, they're running the payroll. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So today we're going to talk about some of the advantages of franchising. And this video serves two different individuals, people that want to know about franchising overall and why would someone franchise a business when they could just go out and open up 50 or 100 locations and own everything themselves. I get that question. Why would someone even franchise their business? Why not just get the capital? So it'll address that. And then the other thing it'll address is if you have a business, that you've thought about, hey, should I franchise this business or this concept? You've owned it, it's been successful, you have a proven model or system, maybe you have multiple locations, maybe franchising makes sense for you. So we're gonna cover that in this video, so let's jump in. All right, guys, if you're new here, my name is Tariq Johnson. I went to building a multi-million-dollar franchise business in multiple states, and now I have a channel and brand talking all about franchising and business ownership. I'm a huge advocate of being a business owner and really consider myself a transition coach, someone that helps people transition from employee to entrepreneur. With that said, let's go ahead and get started with the advantages of franchising. All right, if you're new here, my name is Tariq Johnson. I built a multi-million-dollar franchise business, owning multiple franchise locations in multiple states in California and in Florida. I have a channel talking all about franchise ownership and just business ownership in general. I'm a huge advocate of business ownership. I think that everyone should own a business. Well, maybe not everyone, because some people just aren't meant to be business owners. You know who those people are. But real quick, I wrote a 7-step blueprint to business profits in 60 days. It's a 28-page PDF. Over 1,500 people have downloaded it. It's completely free. Go grab it. It's really valuable. You can get it at tariqjohnson.com. With that said, let's jump into the advantages of franchising. All right, so the very first advantage of franchising is that there's no capital funding that's needed. So when I say that, there's no capital that's needed for the franchisor, right? So if you have a business, let's say you own 2-3 different locations of a juice bar. I say juice bar because I used to own juice bar franchises. I still have one, actually. So let's say you had 2 or 3 juice bar locations and you thought, man, that would be awesome to have 200 of these all across the country. Well, that's a lot of capital that you're gonna need. As an example, my wife and I's very first franchise location that we opened, so that business took about a little bit over $300,000 to get open. That's a lot of money. So imagine at $300,000 a pop, even if you just wanna open 10 locations, well, you're talking that's $3 million. And if you wanna open up 100 locations, that's $30 million. So you start to see what the benefit is to someone franchising the business as opposed to them doing it corporately, right? So that's one of the big benefits. Number 2 is the reduction of risk. So one of the benefits of franchising, if you have your own business or if there's a corporation, is that you're not having to risk your capital because there's very little risk for the franchisor. You have the individual franchisees who are putting up their capital, and at the end of the day, the franchisor, the way that they make money is off of the initial franchise fee, mostly, and then off of the royalties of the business. So obviously, if the business closes, they're not gonna make those royalty fees. They've already collected the franchise fee, and so there's not much risk for the franchisor. Number 3 is that there's limited liability. So the franchisor, and let me just pause here for a second. If you're not familiar with 2 different terms, these are really important to know. So franchisee is the individual that signs the agreement that opens the individual locations. Franchisor is like corporate. So as an example, If it's McDonald's franchise, because that's a franchise, I made a whole video on that about how franchising works, the McDonald's example, so check that out if you want to know overall more about how franchising works overall and the nuts and bolts of it, because that's not what this video is for. But with that said, McDonald's would be the franchisor, someone opening a McDonald's would be the franchisee. So in that case, there's limited liability because McDonald's is not actually signing the agreements to open the location. It's the franchisee. They're signing the contracts, they're running the payroll, so there's limited liability for the franchisor. So number 4 is a fast growth rate. So by leveraging franchisees, a franchisor can grow a lot quicker because they're not having to pile on a lot of staff and a lot of staff and a lot of staff. And if there's one thing we know after COVID, there's a massive labor shortage. All right, number 5 is you're not having to manage the day-to-day, right? So if you have created a franchise concept or you're franchising your business, one of the advantages is that you're not day-to-day in the business because franchisees are day-to-day in the business and running their specific locations and brands. So it's not something that the franchisor has to get involved with, allowing them to scale even faster and faster. Number 6 is motivated management. And when I say management, motivated franchisees. Think about this for a second. Have you ever gone into a business or a location and the staff or the manager of the location is just like, yeah, hey, how can I help you? And it's just like, oh, it's not very well run. Sometimes you can tell. There are franchises that have corporate run locations and then they have franchise owned locations. Sometimes you can tell the corporate run locations because they're not run as well. And on the flip side, sometimes they're run better. So I guess that's a bad example overall. But generally speaking, you've got, motivated owners and management. You got franchisees that have typically hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line and they want to be successful. So that's one of the benefits. Typically, franchise owners are going to perform better than if it was just a manager at a corporate run location. Number 7 is kind of building on that, which is quality control. Franchisees tend to keep their units in better shape overall. I know that we would have frequent audits from corporate at my franchise locations, and I incentivized my managers to make sure that we got great scores on the audits, and I really cared about it because I'm very competitive. So generally speaking, again, franchisees tend to be more active and they're living most of the time in the communities that they're in. Number 8 is financial performance. So there are some statistics overall. I wish I had some to quote for you here, but overall franchise run locations tend to perform better financially than corporate owned locations. And so, that's a really interesting concept. Again, franchise owners are more engaged. They're getting involved in the community. They have so much skin in the game. So it really makes sense of why some of those locations are more successful. Real quick, guys, if as we go into number 9, if you're getting some value out of this video, hit the like button below. It helps the YouTube algorithm show this video to more and more people. Also, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you haven't, make sure to go to my website, get my 7-step blueprint to business profits in 60 days. It's all about how you can start, create, or grow any business and turn it profitable in 60 days or less. I know it sounds like just like an outlandish claim, but it's true and it can work. We did it with our first franchise location, and I've done it with multiple other businesses as well. All right, number 9, one of the benefits of franchising is less staff. So overall, if someone's looking to expand their footprint and grow more and more locations, well, when you bring on franchisees, you're not having to hire more and more people. We talked about this a little bit earlier in the video, but that's really a key benefit in the process. Employees and staff is often the number 1 expense in a business, if not the number 2 expense in a business. And then when you add in employee benefits and payroll taxes and all the other things that add up under the employee cost overall, well, you can see why some companies wind up choosing to go the franchise route and recruit franchisees where the franchisees are having to hire the staff and run the payroll, as opposed to someone deciding to be corporate and open 50 or 100 locations themselves. Number 10 is brand building. So basically, a franchise can grow a lot quicker when they have franchise locations, because they can be popping up all over the country, opening up 10, 20, 30 locations at a time. It happens, especially for fast-growing franchises. So number 11 is advertising. Franchise owners contribute to an advertising fund that allows the franchisor to fund their advertising as well as the staff on their marketing and advertising team. So those are some of the benefits and advantages of franchising. So the next time you go, well, that's weird, why is that company a franchise? Or should I turn my company into a franchise? Think of that. And again, I hope you enjoyed this video, you got some value out of it. I'll see you on the next one.